An outlaw gang on the run, hunted across America, slowly destroyed by betrayal, greed, and the changing world around them. This is the tragic story of Arthur Morgan, a loyal outlaw slowly questioning the violent life he has always followed. After a failed robbery in Blackwater, the Van der Linde gang escapes into freezing mountains while lawmen hunt them. Arthur searches abandoned cabins for supplies, helping the gang survive the deadly winter storm closing in around them. They rescue Sadie Adler, whose life was destroyed by outlaws, unknowingly adding another broken soul to the gang. The gang settles near Valentine, hoping to rebuild, but trouble follows them wherever they try to hide. Hosea Matthews quietly warns Arthur that Dutch is changing, growing reckless, and mistaking pride for leadership. A simple night in Valentine ends in violence, proving that no matter where the gang goes, trouble always finds them first. Micah is imprisoned, laughing at consequences, already showing the cruelty and chaos that will poison the gang from within. Arthur frees Micah despite his instincts, unknowingly releasing a force that will push Dutch further away from reason. Federal agents begin tracking the gang closely, signaling that escape is no longer about money, but about time. By the campfire, Arthur quietly questions his life, wondering whether loyalty has cost him more than it ever gave back. Dutch starts listening to Micah's violent ideas, mistaking brutality for strength and chaos for freedom. Fearing the law, the gang moves south, chasing a future that feels increasingly out of reach. Near the river, the gang settles again, but peace remains an illusion built on borrowed time and borrowed land. The gang becomes entangled in a violent feud, manipulating powerful families while underestimating the consequences. John Marston is taken, pushing Dutch further into rage and confirming that his judgment is slipping. The Braithwaite Manor burns, a symbol of victory that only deepens the cycle of revenge and loss. St. Denis represents progress and order, a modern world that has no place for outlaws like them. In St. Denis, Dutch meets Angelo Bronte, a powerful crime lord who pretends to help, while quietly judging how desperate the gang has become. Arthur rescues Jack from Angelo Bronte and returns him safely, realizing this child still has a future worth protecting, even as the gang slowly falls apart. Angelo Bronte sends the gang to rob the post office, but it is a setup, and Dutch barely escapes. Humiliated and convinced Bronte betrayed him, Dutch murders Angelo Bronte without mercy, feeding him to the swamp. And Arthur understands this was never about freedom anymore, only control. Dutch insists a St. Denis bank robbery will be their last job, the one that finally buys their freedom. The plan collapses instantly, turning the city streets into a battlefield with no escape and no mercy. Lenny Summers is shot and killed without warning, another life lost before anyone can even react. The survivors flee by boat, broken, grieving, and unaware that worse fate still awaits them. A violent storm wrecks their escape, stripping them of control and delivering them into chaos once again. Stranded on Garma, the gang fights in a foreign land, proving violence follows them wherever they run. Dutch executes a helpless man, confirming to Arthur that his leader is no longer the man he trusted. When they finally return, nothing feels familiar, and hope has all but vanished. The gang hides in Beaver Hollow, divided by fear, suspicion, and a growing sense of betrayal. Later on the story, Arthur's violent coughing reveals the truth. His body is failing, and time is no longer on his side. A doctor confirms Arthur has tuberculosis, forcing him to confront the life he lived and the man he became. Knowing his end is near, Arthur begins helping strangers, seeking meaning beyond money and violence. John Marston is captured during the escape, and Dutch chooses to abandon him, forcing Arthur to risk everything to bring John back alive. Dutch turns away from Arthur, choosing pride and Micah over loyalty and truth. Arthur urges John Marston to escape, to live for his family, and not repeat the same mistakes. The gang attempts one final train robbery, but it collapses into chaos, proving Dutch's plans are empty and the end is no longer avoidable. During the final train robbery, John is knocked from the train, and Dutch chooses to abandon him, revealing that his loyalty now comes with conditions. When an agent threatens Abigail and reveals the betrayal, Arthur kills him without hesitation, choosing to protect John's family over Dutch's lies. Arthur exposes Micah as the informant, revealing the betrayal that destroyed the gang. Arthur fights Micah with everything he has left, driven by truth rather than survival. Dutch abandons them both, unable to face the damage he caused. Arthur Morgan dies watching the sunrise, finally free from the life that consumed him. Years pass, and John Marston struggles to live an honest life shaped by Arthur's sacrifice. John builds a ranch with his family, trying to bury the outlaw life forever. Sadie Adler returns with unfinished business, reminding John that the past is never truly gone. John confronts Micah Bell in the mountains, where betrayal finally meets consequence. Micah is killed, ending the cycle of manipulation and lies that destroyed the gang. Dutch Linde appears briefly, saying nothing, carrying the weight of every failure. John returns home, determined to honor Arthur's sacrifice through a better life. Peace settles slowly, earned through loss, pain, and survival.